Welcome back to Hasbro's Hide. Working on our next 6.5 Grendel load study, and we're going to go back and visit one we've done in the previous video. Well, two of the powder charges anyway. Because remember, the last one, I think that a lot of my problems were, I was on a folding type card table. And that's a heavy plastic one, but it's still a folding card table. It's also very slick, and so my bench rest was moving around on me, and it's just a lot of things I think was messing with the accuracy more than it would be normally at the range where I use concrete benches, and they're much more stable, of course. So we're going to reshoot these two loads, and that was the Accurate 2520 and Shooter's World match powders, and we're going to do 27.4 and 27.7 grains of each one, and we'll see if our improved or improvised rest will be better, or table or platform will be better, I should say. And so we're going to do that. We're also going to do Reloader 15. Now I shoot Reloader 15 a lot in 308 and in F-Class, it and Varget, and I've had really good results with it, and so there are some loads available for 6.5 Grendel that use this. Hornady has several loads for it, and they have one for 129 grain bullets. So we're going to use that to store 130 grains. I think we'll call it close enough. And they show a maximum charge of 27.6 grains. And so since we have once and twice fired brass, our case capacity is more appropriate or maximized to our chamber. So we're going to load that on up, and we'll shoot 27.6 grains, but then we're going to go down in 0.3 increments. We're only going to do 4 load studies in this one, and we're going to go down to 26.7. So that's what we're going to do in this series. Now, we're going to switch though to using CCI number 41 primers. And these are, I use these a lot in 5.56 ammunition, especially the really high power, long range, 77 grain, Sierra Match King kind of loads. They're just really consistent and really, really reliable. And so that's what we're going to shoot in these this time. So that's one small change from the Federal Match primers that we were using before. So we'll check that out and see what we can contribute to there. But I think most of it's going to be this bench and rest stability issue. So why are we on our Dillon 550B? Well, the reason we're on here is because my Lee Ergo Prime broke. The plastic parts shattered and that guide the primers up into the position and into the bottom of the case. The plunger itself is metal, it's fine, but the plastic sort of housing that they slide through and where that plunger goes up and the base of it down where there's a little spring, it all started to crack. So I've got another one, a replacement coming from Lee, and I hope that's just, you know, a problem with that one part, but I think it's a weakness in the design. So we'll see, and that's nice, it's hand primer, it's easy enough, whatever. But fortunately, in the meantime, I already had this, and that's the Dillon AK-47 or 7.62 by 39 shell plate and conversion kit for this. And so, you know, I already load that for my AK. And so all I did was remove, I was already loading 223, so I had the small rifle primer set up in here with this bar and the plunger and things like that. So I just removed the sizing die, and I can use the first station then with the shell plate and the correct pins for AK-47 then and load these just fine. We're going to do this on the press that I have the counter mod for. So if you're interested in 550Bs and you'd like to put a simple counter on, check that video out. It's really pretty easy to do and you know, not expensive. I don't know, I had less than 20 bucks in doing this. And you know, for loading 50 cases, does it matter? No, it doesn't matter at all. But this machine is not necessarily made for somebody that loads 50 cases. This is for somebody that wants to load hundreds and thousands of rounds, and it's set up that way in the progressive style and its robustness. It's set up for high volume. And when you do high volume, if you're like me, and maybe you're not, but maybe you are, you can get tired and you kind of lose count. And occasionally you'll have a primer flip out or flip upside down. There's always something like that, or you mess up and you smash the case. There's always going to be something in when you do 1,000 rounds or more. Well, this keeps count of it, so you have a better idea how many have you really gone through, besides just trying to keep up how many tubes of primers you fed it and how many fell out and that sort of stuff. Because if you're looking for, yeah, I want to load 10 boxes, well then, you know, it's 500 rounds and that just counts it up for you. So just a quick thing, if you like that kind of thing, check out that video. It's pretty simple and easy to do. So anyway, we have a case in here. I've already got a primer in position, and you see then it just does a really nice job of seating primers, and so it should, you spend enough for them, it should do a good job. But all it'll do is cycle it, it loads a new primer, set it down, and we don't index the wheel. And so that'll help us just do one station. The brass has already been sized and prepped and deburred and chamfered and cleaned, and it's just really just looking for the primers, and then we're ready to load. So we'll go through and process through all this brass, and we'll then go over and load powder and bullet next. All right, now we're going to start loading Shooter's World Match Rifle. And so our first charge we're going to do is 27.4. So we're going to do 27.4 grains, and because this meters really well. Now we'll see the first time it's primed, it may not. First time the system's primed, because first time it's been run today. But we'll see. And that will bring us up then to our first charge. We're going to do 27.4 and 27.7 grains. And we're going to do that in both Shooter's World Match Rifle and Accurate 2520. So if you remember on this one, you have to wait. You have to wait. So now it comes back and says it's light, which I'm not surprised on the first one because it's filling the tube and all that sort of thing. So we'll bring it over to our new scale and we'll check it out here. So it's 27.2. So we'll trickle up then to 27.4. I need to charge this tube, I guess. Oh, it's got some in it. All right, now we have 27.4. Then we'll go over here and check on the new Calox scale, and it says 27.5. And this is the problem I'm having. A brand new scale, and I just don't have confidence in it. The problem is, and I'm doing another study, you'll see that video separately from this, is trying to understand the variability between the scales. This one repeats exceptionally well. This one does pretty good, but this scale is supposed to be really good, and I'm just not impressed. I'm really not impressed so far, but we'll see. I hate to give it, too bad a review or wrap whatever right away. Let's go ahead and re-zero that one and just double check. So 27.4 here. And we have 27.4 here. And 27.3 here. So since that one agrees with this one, we'll go ahead and load this one, but it just makes me worry when you have this kind of a variation. What is it? What are these scales' accuracy? They say they read. All they do is they list a readability of 0.1 grains. They don't tell you the repeatability of that. Maybe it's a difference in the English translations. I don't know, but I assume this is made in China. I guess I should look on that. Let's see. Yeah, made in China. So it could be just simply an English translation. They say readability instead of repeatability. So this says 27.3. And this says 27.3. So we're slightly light. So we'll go ahead and trickle up. Put this thing in the center of the platen. Okay, 27.4 and 27.5. And so it's really frustrating when you can't trust a new scale. I don't know. I don't want that kind of variation. I'll probably go back and get my old cheapy scale and use it again. We'll see. But so okay, RCBS 27.4. Check this again here. And this says 27.2. There's just no way the RCBS is off that much. And then you get, okay, 27.4. 27.3 it just dropped. Let's see what this one says. 27.4. So these two are agreeing, so I'll have to go with that. But it's just really frustrating when you can't trust, like I say, a brand new scale that's supposed to be really good to repeat better than 0.1. So here it says 27.5. That said 27.4. Let's see what this says. 27.4. We'll go back here and check again. 27.5. Check it one more time. 27.5. So, I don't know. Frustrating. Very frustrating. We'll continue on. I'll figure this out and we'll work our way through the other charges. One thing I forgot to mention as I work through these powder charges as well is these scales have all been on now for 3 hours. And so that's plenty of time. They're warm, they're stable. I've shut off every bit of airflow in here. So there's no air circulating other than me moving around. And yeah, it repeats sometimes, sometimes not. But it's this 0.1 that's killing me. You know, plus or minus 0.1 is just, I don't know. It's not where I want to be. It may be where I live with this scale. Maybe I go back and get the old one back out. I don't know. But anyway, so that's what we're doing. So we're going to move on to our next charge of 27.7. And then, you know, that'll be boring enough. We'll come back and look at what we do on Reloader 15. Okay, now we're working on our Reloader 15 ammunition or powder charges. And so we're in the middle of our load. I went ahead and added one other charge to it. Instead of 4, we're going to shoot 5 charges. And so we're going to go from 27.6 down to 26.4. And that's just because they had the extra cases and bullets. And so we're going to go ahead and do a normal 5 charge study at 0.3 grain increments apart. And so now we're working on 26.7 grains and working between our scales. Having some time on them now. A bit more than what I had stated before. This one continues to drift. It goes up and down, 0.1, 0.2, something like that, and it will then start disagreeing with this one. But the new Calox and the RCBS continue to measure correctly and to each other. I mean, really consistently. But here's one where it threw 0.2 light, and it warned me of that. Well, it says 0.2 light here because that scale happened to come back with the negative tear weight of this pan and have it about right. So we'll go up to 26.7 and then we'll see how well we agree over here. 26.7. So that's fine, it's working there, but it's just is not reliable. I mean, it just keeps drifting up and down. And I mean, if you're okay within, you know, plus or minus 0.2 probably, that's probably where this scale is coming in. You know, when it's really stable, 0.1 maybe, but I don't know. Becoming more skeptical, you can probably tell. But I'm just not happy compared to even the cheap, what it was, $17 scale or something it was before. So I'll keep working with it. We'll see how it does. And then, like I say, I have the scale study. And we'll look at that maybe a little later. So we'll finish up our Reloader 15 charges, and then we'll start seeing our bullets. Continuing on now with the seating of our bullets, and this is the first time I've seated them since I've run my 6.5 Grendel brass, Hornady brass, through the Anneal's machine, Anneal EZ 2.0 I should say machine. And there is a big difference. The force it requires to seat these bullets is easily less than half of what it was. And so that actually goes back to a conversation I had online on the 65grendel.com site. You might check that out if you're into 6.5 Grendel, if you're not already, with a user called Centerfire, and he was saying that you should probably even anneal brand new brass and resize them. Well, I had resized these from the new, but I didn't anneal them. And after feeling this difference on this particular Hornady brass anyway, yeah, I believe it. I believe it because it's so much easier, which will be more consistent neck tension, more consistent release. Pressures will probably be slightly lower because if that round is in there tight, your pressures can build rapidly. That's one of the problems with crimping. If you do it wrong, you can build pressure fast as well. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention that because this is so, I mean, this is incredibly easy compared to what it was. And so that's a really good positive thing. And like I said before, less work means less work hardening of that brass, and it should last longer. So that was it for all the 2520 and Shooter's World powders you just saw there. So now we have the Reloader 15, and we have 5 different charge weights. And we're going to start with the highest one, which is 27.6. I don't know if you can see down in there or not, but that case is pretty full. It's right to the bottom of the neck or top of the shoulder. So this will probably be slightly compressed. Now let's see if we can measure how much, because we've been right about our 2.52 mark this entire time. Didn't feel bad. Didn't feel bad. There's definitely no room in that case. Now let's see what our overall measurement is. Yeah, so it definitely has grown. We'll do a couple more here and we'll double check. And we may have to adjust the die down for these upper charges to keep them all consistent. But you can see down in there we have to be compressing slightly. You don't feel it much, but it has to be just slightly anyway compressing. 2.55, 4.5, 5.5. Let's keep going. .54. I keep dropping stuff. All right. We'll check one more here. 2.54.5. So the first one was long. So I'll adjust these down a couple thousandths. We'll reseat them. Keep that overall at 2.525. 2.252. There we go. 2.252. That's our target. And so we're back on it. We'll go ahead and finish these reloader 15 rounds, and then we'll go to the range and pick up what we're dropping. Well, we're at the COVID-19 outdoor range, part 2 for a bench rest. That card table was not enough. It's going to be shooting out of the back of this 5,000 pound bench rest and see how well it works out. So we see all the way down there, we're going to be at 95 yards all the way down to that point right there today, and we'll give it a whirl and see. Hopefully this will be a lot more stable. Well, we're at the COVID-19 outdoor range, part 2 for a bench rest. That card table was not enough. It's going to be shooting out of the back of this 5,000 pound bench rest and see how well it works out. So we see all the way down there, we're going to be at 95 yards all the way down to that point right there today, and we'll give it a whirl and see. Hopefully this will be a lot more stable. Alright, just a little bit low, so we'll come up half minute. For us all looks good. Also, I switched this time to an H buffer. I built one at 3.8 ounces. With the KAK industry parts, and it seems to be a lot smoother, less recoil than before. So far, no function issues. Well, back in from the range after shooting my target holder. It'll happen occasionally, and the very last shot of our string hit it and just wrecked that target holder. But I have spares, and that's fine. I guess it's going to happen. But I thought I'd share with you some of the results. So this was the previous target from shooting Shooter's World Match and the AA2520 and the 130 grain ELD from Hornady. And this was at 50 yards. And so if you remember looking at the numbers, this was like, oh, this was 4.3 MOA and 3 and 2.7s, 2.5, and in fact our best one, there's one almost to 5 here. Well, there was here. This is over 5 inches, or 5 MOA, 5.3 MOA. But our best one of all of them was like 2.7 MOA. And so this was on the sort of the heavy plastic folding card table setup, but I just never felt comfortable and never felt stable and secure. So we shot out of the back of the 5,000 pound table, or the back of my truck, and so what the results were better. Now I couldn't get comfortable in that bed of that truck, laying prone in it and all, but it was better and things weren't moving around, and I think that shows in the results. So here are the results. I'll post, you'll see up in the top left corner there up here that you'll see the actual values and all for this, but it's quite a bit better result. And so we have our sighters, and these first few sighters, yeah, that's that Hornady Black. It still does not, this gun does not like that ammunition at all, that combination. But we got much better results. Now you may say the group size looks somewhat similar. Well, they're actually smaller, and this is 95 yards instead of 50 yards, which is what the previous target was shot at. So a more stable platform, farther distance, and we got some improved results. Now, it's not going to be as good as on the concrete benches at the range, or the gun range for sure, but it's better. And you know, it's like if I was completely steady, I think most of these would be maybe MOA, maybe some slightly smaller than that, but we'll have to prove that in later testing. So these are the first ones where we shot the same, what I thought was the best load out of the last 50-yard target. And you see the top one here, we got a 1.5 MOA on 27.4, and I felt that one. I just didn't feel steady when I squeezed it off. So I think that load holds some more promise, because if you take that one out, then the best group in here is about 0.57 if you take the mean MOA. And so then you move on to 27.7 grains, and we get a 1.9 MOA. Now I felt like these held really good, and I had one go flying. This group is nice. There's nice four together, but this is 1.9. But if you take the average of these out, it's 0.577 MOA. So that's encouraging, but I got to find out what that is. And it could have been one of these. Maybe. I'm pretty sure I felt myself flinch there a little bit and move, but who knows. Well, then we go over to Shooter's World Match, and we see this is a 2.46 MOA. The average, or the best you get, would be 0.834, and so it's worse, clearly worse than here. And this one, I have no idea why. That one really puzzled me when I shot it. This one I felt was a good squeeze. I thought these I felt like a good squeeze. I thought maybe, actually I remember when I shot, I thought maybe I squeezed just about where that bullet hole was, you know, slightly high at the center. Not that much high, but you know, within the tolerance of what maybe it's shooting, it's probably could be related to me. But there are two there, but this one, I don't know. Again, we have one going flying like that. And then this one, I start to see some horizontal stringing, which is kind of odd. And this is 2.3 MOA, and its mean is 0.67. And so this general group is pretty good, but this last one is what hit our target stand, or wrecked our target stand, and ripped a hole as it went out. So anyway, yeah, I'm not sure what was going on there. But again, we have one go, at least one, go flying wildly. Well, we go down to the Reloader 15. And Reloader 15, we get a 1.598 MOA, and its average MOA would be 0.615. So this was grouping really well, but two fell out down low. Now we move up a little bit, and of course it's a little bit better, 1.351 MOA. These are all converted, by the way, for 95 yards, so the numbers are correct. And then it's a 0.577 average MOA. And so that's better. That's better. We have one maybe come outside, but I can't say this is not me in the truck. You know, not being comfortable. I'd say when you get them this close and that kind of group, yeah, a good bit of that, probably half of that, is me not being comfortable laying prone in the back of that truck. Same kind of thing here. I don't know if I can blame this one on a flyer per se, or just me not being comfortable, because I know I'm just trying to concentrate as best I can, look through the scope, but I was never comfortable, never had a really comfortable sight picture, and you know, maybe that's part of that. And that one's ended up being about a 1.8 MOA, or 0.6 or so, 615 average MOA, if you drop that out. Well, then we have one here, take off to the right. Now this one, I'm pretty sure was not me, not this far. These two felt good. These two, I mean, I felt like it was good, but they dropped. Again, maybe that's within normal, but it's probably just me not being comfortable in that truck. But this one, yeah, I don't think that's part of it. And then our last group here was looking quite a bit better. And this is a 1.484 MOA. We have one going, again, kind of up and to the right, that messes it up. Otherwise, we had a 0.52 MOA. So I think it's encouraging results now. Maybe the gun's starting to break in. Maybe you just really like some of these powder combinations that we're figuring out in this BCA barrel. There's a lot yet to prove, I think, in this to see. But making improvements, clearly better than we were before. Half of the group sizes that we were before at half the distance. That's why I said these group sizes were just horrible at 50 yards. And these are still horrible, or not what I want compared to what I get out of my precision AR setups in 5.56. But it's encouraging. I think it's getting better, and we're starting to hone in maybe on some things that might work. We have more coming, but at least for now, accurate 2520 and a Shooter's World match combination maybe will come out pretty good. And then Reloader 15 has a couple of loads that are promising as well. I didn't get all the velocity data, like I mentioned, I had in the video, I took that part out. I really got frustrated with the lab radar dropping its Bluetooth connection all the time. I have some data, but it was just a mess, and I have to sort a bunch of stuff. So I decided not to do it. We'll just look at group sizes today. And but all the pressures and everything was safe, and the brass was all good. Really nothing to see there at all. So load-wise, they're all okay. Accuracy, more work to be done, but we're getting there, I think, and making some progress on our 6.5 Bear Creek Arsenal barrel Grendel rifle.